Yeah, man, we are live. It is a Friday night reality check, and I got a special guest with us tonight, and that is Frank Pesce. Frank, how you doing?
What's up, Tone? Good to be here with you, buddy.
Yeah, it's good to have you. Tonight's show, the topic was can we all get along? And I want to we'll talk about that, about people getting along. I think it's important that we do this. We know we roast each other and different things, and men can have jokes, and I think that's really cool. But I think the topic too tonight, actually, with you is this was your third time at 21, and you played a big part in 21 convention this year. So tell us what you did.
Yeah, man, it was my third time there. What a great event that it was. For me, the strongest aspect of the whole event is the relationships. Because you get to meet other men who are about things. They're about improving their own life. They're about having an impact on their society. They're about building community. These are guys that are at the leading edge where they're trying to learn stuff, sharpen their skills, and just bring something enterprising to whatever niche that they are in. Obviously, as you know, the 21 convention over the last few years has taken an evolutionary turn, and you have speakers ranging from Christian pastors to devout atheists, you know what I mean, that all share a broad range of views. But what essentially happens at the 21 is it becomes a forum. It becomes a place where an exchange of ideas happens, always on the grounds and basis of mutual respect. But again, for me, the most important aspect of any convention and anything that has a fraternal order to it is certainly the relational aspect that belongs to it. As far as doing a role there, yes, I was very blessed. I was very excited at the offer for the opportunity to do the 21 report, something that you, Tony, have done so well in the last couple of years. And you really stepped up and spoke to Anthony and said, hey, this guy is qualified, he's capable to do it. And I got to, in a very professional way, do at least 19 speakers and some attendees and a married couple. And it was awesome. It was really great because what it became is it became an opportunity to do some objective journalism, so to speak, at the table. But what it essentially became was a conversation. And at each and every interview, that conversation just became more targeted, more dialed in. And I think that we were able to talk about things that were not only complementary to what the speakers had from a speech perspective, but it was actually more. We uncovered, what drives people to put together their speeches, how they got there, what their journey looked like. And I'm really excited about the interview class for this season because, man, I was really engaged with it. And I got a lot of good feedback from the speakers and from the production team. And I intend to do it again next year. I had an opportunity to speak with Anthony. He was very happy with it. And he invited me back to do it again next year. And I'll look forward to doing it now with, doing a little research, digging in a little bit, because this was on the fly. They just handed me the mic and said, hey, you got a nice suit on. Why don't you get to work? And, I would just say, to piggyback on that, whenever an opportunity is presented to us, we have to be professional about it. And we have to approach the work that we're doing with absolute excellence. And while I've never been an interviewer or spent any time in journalism, I have watched enough interviews and appreciated enough interviews to understand what dynamic I needed to bring to the table in order to be effective. Now, I will also say I would not have accepted the role if I did not think that I could be effective. So it's a principle just in business and in life as it pertains to excellence. Do the things that you can do well, and the things that you cannot do well, make sure you find the best person for the job to do it, because ultimately the mission is what's most important. So yeah, my review all in all of the 21 convention, I felt useful. I felt connected. I got to, see kind of how the inner workings of a convention, an event actually does take shape, which it's very complex. They do a really great job at 21 convention, 21 studios, 21 summit to make that happen. And in that, you could tell that there's experience, there's professionalism. And as an attendee and somebody that goes to that, your expectation should be excellence, because that's what 21 is going to provide for you. And I say that with an absolute level of sincerity. So I will be there again next year. 5-star review. I thought it was great. I thought this year, what was interesting too, Tone, is that people knew where they needed to be. I think that it might have been you that said that. I heard you maybe talking in the AV room just saying how this year's vibe of the 21, the speakers know where they need to be. First time attendees have somebody who's been here before that's able to guide them and bring them into, hey, you should check out this speech. Hey, you should do that. Or, hey, be back here, this time we're going to do lunch together. It was a really great vibe. And I just want to commend the entire 21 team, you and everybody who participated, and myself and their studios for a job well done.
Yeah. I just want to make a quick comment. Tuesday, you little ass kisser. You're going to get blocked or timed. You're getting timed out now, I can see, but you're going to get blocked. So either beat it or add something constructive, you loser. Okay. All right, let's continue. Let me ask you a question. What do you think of, like, what's the difference between what we're doing now here on a podcast? Like, a lot of these guys just just talk, and there is no face-to-face connection. So what's the difference between like doing this and actually showing up in real life?
Yeah. So one of the greatest means of communication is transference. It's me being able to impart to you what I feel, or being able to raise an emotion or an idea inside of you. You cannot do that the same way virtually as you can when you're able to shake somebody's hand, when you're able to put your hand on somebody's shoulder, when you're able to feel their energy and their emotions coming off them as they discuss with you a subject. So I was not a fan of the lockdowns. I think it was harmful. I think it was bad. I didn't agree with it in the very beginning. I thought it was very dumb. And in that, people have learned how to operate away from each other. People have put space and distance between themselves in relationship. So I'm a big advocate for, getting around people, especially in group settings, because that's how ideas are born. Because essentially you're in an incubator, you're in a think tank, you're in a place where you're able to connect with somebody whom you would have otherwise never had the opportunity to meet. So I'm a big proponent of live events whenever possible.
Yeah. So what for you, like we got an event for women. Okay.
Mm.
So how did the women react that were there to the presentations? And, I had a, hopefully she'll be on shortly. Her name is Good Mother, but I had an assistant. She was my assistant this year.
Right.
So how did, what do you think of the response from the women?
I think it's incredible, man. Look, I don't hate women. Nothing like that. When people talk about feminism, they automatically think we're just talking about women, but feminism is actually a spirit that can affect men, women, institutions. It's not limited to women. It's feminism is about superiority of one over another. It's conquer and divide. It's the same thing as racism, same thing as sexism. It's total nonsense. I like to be around women. I like to be in an area where women are, because it's another vector to share ideas. It's another vector to share energy. Inside of the 22 summit, where the women were, there was a lot of constructive work that was happening in there. And Elliot Hulse, for instance, and his wife have been influential in that realm. Jennifer Molesky was there with her husband. Melissa Isaac, who's a renowned attorney in divorce, who only represents men in divorce, was there, shared a lot of good insight and key information. And there was also a lot of great women volunteers that were really, just supportive of, restoring the godly order to the way things should be.
That was kind of new too, to have women volunteers this year. It was kind of cool. It was different.
I think it was a great idea. I think it was excellent. Women, if they're operating in their feminine, role, they should want to serve. They should want to help. They should want to be in a place where they can make a house a home, where they can add value. And men too. Men can bring great service. But what I'm saying is, when you give people an opportunity to flourish in their God-given roles, they're going to do it well. They're going to do it well, especially if you create that runway for them to operate and receive, gratification knowing that things are getting done. So I was very happy to see women volunteers, women speakers. And, next year I'll probably go, with my wife, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's very good. It was good to see married couples there, because you showed a diversity and a breadth of ideas. And you showed people who came from all different walks of life that had one goal in common, and that was to get better and to make an impact with their lives in whatever sphere of influence they're in. I thought it was good. What did you think, Tone? Did you like it? You think it was good?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question. Who do you think was the breakout speaker for me, I can tell you who it was. I think I told you who it was, but for me, the breakout speaker, and again, I think I've watched 5 minutes max of people's speeches. I'm just too busy. But I did watch Zan Perion, which I thought the guy
Excellent.
was incredible.
That guy was incredible. I enjoyed interviewing him too.
Reminds me of Johnny Depp from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Dude, he was awesome. And you know what? That guy's brilliant, bro.
He's absolutely brilliant. I'm gonna actually quote him. I think this is profound because I've never heard anybody talk like this. What he had said on stage was that porn is just for the, you young guys who are whatever, you guys who watch porn, man, it's dangerous. Stay away from it. But he said porn is sex without the beauty. And he said when the screen goes black, the only thing that's left is your reflection in the screen. And dude, I stood there and we're talking, everybody in the audience just stopped. It was a pause like I've never heard before. And I've never heard anybody put it like that. And to me, that was absolutely one of the deepest things to me, it was profound. The other speech I did watch, of course, is this State of the Manosphere, Anthony Johnson speech, which will come out shortly, I'm sure. And that was an ass kicker. If you guys want Anthony Johnson, you're going to see him when this comes out. So it's going to be quite, but Zan was I'll call him my breakout speaker of the convention, without a doubt. Just incredible. So.
Awesome. Yeah, he was great. He was great. Now, I didn't get to see his speech because I was doing the interviews, but man, when he sat down on my table right after his speech.
Let me pause 1 second. John Beta says, beta males banning people for speaking. No. If it's a fucking weirdo shit that you're talking about, yeah, you're going to be gone. This is my house, bitch. Okay. So keep your beta ass out of here. John Beta. So anyways, continue.
I enjoyed sitting down with him and speaking to him for an interview. We definitely connected heart to heart. He's got a great energy about him. He's got a lot of great life experience. I hope to see him again.
Okay. I'm going to bring on somebody right now. I'm going to bring on my wonderful assistant that was at 21, and we're going to get some feedback from her too. Good mother, are you ready? Give me a thumbs up backstage. Here we go. How are you?
Good. How are you, Tony? Hi, Frank.
Hey, what's up? How are you?
Good. Good to be home.
See you. Right on. Yeah, likewise.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. So yeah, we're talking about 21. I'm glad you're here so you can give a woman's perspective on the event. So I know you said you were going to have your son come next year. So
yep. Yeah, going to bring him next year for sure.
Yeah, let's in fact, Frank, if you have any questions for Good Mother, go for it. Let's hit her up with some questions. But first of all, I want your overall opinion of the operation first. Like, what did you think of the whole operation?
Oh, it was smooth. Yeah, I've actually volunteered at like hair show conventions before. And it was, I mean, it's a lot more hustle, I think, because they do hair too, but and getting people places, but it was really smooth. And the location was perfect, having that center be there and then right where the rooms are. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and how did you enjoy being my assistant in the makeup?
I loved it. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, you were pleasant to be around, and I was really glad to meet you. To be honest, I had no idea who you were, but obviously a lot of guys there at the convention knew who you were. So
yeah.
It's you're popular in your community. So
yeah,
and yeah. So anyways, I'm just looking at these trolls, man. It's just unbelievable. This is
really nice
this is what people got time to do. It's just incredible. But anyways, Frank, I'm going to go back to you. Who was your breakout speaker of the year? Then I'll go to Good Mother. Who was your breakout speaker of the year?
Yeah. Well, as far as breakout speaker goes, Jeff Younger was probably the guy for me. I really felt for him on what he was going through. I found out what an incredible individual he is on an intellectual, on a personal level. I mean, the guy is world class.
Absolutely. For people don't know about Jeff Younger, give everybody a quick idea what Jeff Younger is going through.
Yeah, Jeff gained prominence because in 2017, his wife tried to divorce him and forced their 2-year-old to have a sex change. So while separated, Jeff had to fight in the courts to try to stay that. And, not allow his wife to be able to change the gender identity of their 2-year-old. As you know, that became a national news story. It was all over the place. And he has spent, I believe, over $1 million in legal just to prevent that from happening. And as it stands right now, the case is still carrying on, and there are some expected turns that are going to happen. But in that whole process, he has shared his story with other families that are experiencing the same thing. He has shared those stories on college campuses and in different forums all over the country and over the world in some cases. And he has been met with tremendous resistance from the progressive left. So it has not been an easy few years for him, but he is brilliant. It's unreal that there are people as resilient as Jeff that can fight that fight, do well, do it effectively, and actually disarm and defeat a class of enemies. And he's just one person. He's just one guy fighting a whole class of progressive leftists.
Yeah.
How can you not like basically feel his pain? Let's put it that way.
No, and he articulates it with absolute brilliance. But what you do not get from him is despair. What you do not get from him is a sense of loss. He is victorious, and he has even entered into the political realm, running for Congress in Texas, causing his opposition to spend over $3 million just to keep him out of the seat. And his intentions are to continue to thrust himself into politics and hopefully bring forth policy change so that people don't have to deal with this, because this is an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
I will just also piggyback on that and say that from hearing Melissa Isaac speak at the 22 convention, she's a divorce attorney specifically and only for men. She made a statement that I thought was very interesting, and she said this. She said the court makeup is starting to change. Traditionally, men have no rights in the courts, and custody was automatically granted to the woman no matter what. But what's happening now is you're having a whole class of judges and prosecutors and legislators and people who are now in that position, who have experienced what it's like to be from a broken home or having been affected by difficult court decisions. And what she is saying is that decisions are now being made with a level of education from these, let's just say, magistrates that did not exist before. So there is some hope in reform and, on that side of the ball, the divorce court, family courts and whatnot. And I thought that those two talks, and I thought they went together really well. I think, Good Mother, I think he wanted to hear from you now about your favorite speaker of the convention.
Oh, my favorite! I didn't get to watch a lot of speakers. Coach Greg Adams was so funny. I mean, just his entire breakdown of feminism and how all the various different things that it's affected and how it's allowed women to behave so terribly in our society. I don't know. He was probably the funniest that I saw.
Definitely got a good energy about him. It was good to see him there.
Yeah, continue on, Frank. I've got to handle a couple things, but you can interview.
No problem. So, Good Mother, I was I had a good time meeting you. Particularly because I saw that you're a woman on a mission. You have a purpose. You're driven. You know your assignment. You know what you're doing. And you shared with me, I guess, your strategy on YouTube, which I never heard it that way before, but it sounded absolutely brilliant. And when I was able to connect the dots, I've recognized that there are other marketing schemes out there that work like that. It's just not communicated as often. So
how so?
Well, that's kind of what you have done with your marketing platform is you have decentralized the responsibility of doing direct marketing, and what you have, at least what you share with me, you connect people, and then those people by default promote your channel. So you're creating almost like a multi-level marketing model, so to speak, just by using your captions, just by using your titles. Obviously, don't want to give away too much of the strategy you share with me, but I thought it was actually really brilliant.
Well, I mean, I think because my goal is actually connecting the people that are saying the same things, because I go to all the different bubbles, because all these are like echo chambers, right? You have your manosphere, you have your tech stuff, you have your hobby stuff, you have your academic stuff, your religion stuff. I mean, there's so many realms on YouTube that have people, and not often do they cross. So I can listen to a man talk about some things in the tech field just randomly, and he's saying the same thing as this dude over here in the manosphere. So I'll just share both of their stuff, and hopefully something comes out of it.
That's brilliant. So how much content do you consume in order to produce content? What's the tension of that relationship?
I don't know. I never thought that I produced content. I just stream usually, and I'll share something that I liked, that I agree with. I mean, a lot of these people I've followed for over a decade anyway. So
Well, the reason I ask is because you mentioned you're connecting somebody in the tech space
yeah,
with somebody in the manosphere. So, I mean,
yeah.
how do you come across that?
A lot of this stuff just pops up in my algorithms. It's kind of weird. When I first started my channel, I would ask a question out into the interwebs, and then the answer to my question would pop up in my algorithm. So I'd be
Nice.
like, oh, this is cool. I've never seen this channel. I'd give it a listen. I'm like, this is exactly what I needed. Add it to my list.
We'll chalk it up to good fortune then. That is awesome.
Yeah. The algorithm gods are very generous.
See.
Yeah,
Tony,
I
you're
mean,
back.
yeah, I'm back. So we're going to continue our talk about 21. For like we know we have the speeches and all that, but let's talk about like the hallway talks and the stuff we do at the dinners, and let's talk about that. What did you guys think of that? That's for sure. I'll start with Frank first.
It's where the magic happens, man. I
Exactly.
love spending time in the hallway. You know, it's nice to be in the speeches, but I didn't get to go into a lot of speeches this year because I was helping with the interviews. But what I did get to do was connect one-on-one with people. Like this year in particular, I connected with Justin from the security team, and we got to talking. We had a really great connection, and we ended up, staying connected via social media. He shared some of my content. Come to find out, he's got a very big Instagram page. He's got almost 40,000 followers, and he's out there sharing my content to try to help me grow, but he also, because he finds value in it. And, we're in the same space. So we're connecting with other people who are in the same space or field of interest. And if you connect with people, you're going to find commonalities and ways to work together. So, how many people would stop and think, let me talk to the security guy and see about him. I've seen him here before, right? But the vibe of the environment is that it's friendly, it's welcoming, it's family-like, it's, it's endeavoring, it's endearing, it's all of those things. So I'm definitely a guy that will grab my coffee and go walk into the hall and just see what's up. And then furthermore, I met people around the hotel, that were attracted to what we were doing. I met one guy, he's a rapper, aspiring rapper. He's on Instagram. He's got about 30,000 followers on Instagram. And he seen me walking and he asked me to just shoot a little piece for a story with him, which I was happy to do. And then he was very interested in what we were doing. I told him about it. I was like, hey, listen, why don't you come by tomorrow? But let me talk to the president, Anthony, first, and just let him know. So I let Anthony know. I said, hey, look, I met this guy at the hotel. He wants to come down and just see what's going on, whatever. And then he ended up coming down while we were outside, hanging out by the pool. I said, that's Anthony. Anthony, that's the guy. And now I notice the guy is like following and liking all the 21 content, which tells me that he has an interest in attending next year. So the event promotes itself within the hallways. The event promotes itself because it creates an energy about it where people are attracted and want to know what it is that's going on. Guys are dressed nice. You have women that are there too who are dressed nice, carrying themselves very well. People are, they have a good energy about them. And those are the kind of people we want around, man. And if you're a guy that has low energy or a girl that has low energy and you want to get high energy, get around high energy people. Come to an event like this. But the expectation should be that's the vibe you're going to experience. High energy, good vibes, and people just looking to make an impact and do more with their world. So
yeah, I like to talk to new guys that are there and the guys that first time, and their experience is just mind is blown. I mean, they're just they get to speak to people that they've been watching, for years live, get to hang out with Coach Greg or one of their, we'll call him a hero, or one of their content creators that they've been watching for years. There's a story with the two guys from Jersey that wanted to see Coach Greg. And
yeah.
They're asking me, is he approachable? And I'm like, sure, go up and talk to Coach Greg.
Absolutely.
And they had a ball with Coach, man. Just had a ball with him. So, you know.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. The speakers are like, what I noticed this year is there was a lot more parity between the attendee and the speaker. Like in the first years, I saw that there was a wall of separation in some regards, that there was like an elite class and then there was the attendee class. But now what I see is I see parity. I see speakers and attendees engaging each other as peers at a level of respect. Like, you know, seeing like Jack Donovan just hanging out with all the different circles, AJ hanging out with all the different circles, Elliot, Ian Smith, and, you know, just Coach Greg. Everybody was just accessible. It wasn't clicky. There was no clicks this year. It was one big event together, which it was more intimate. It was a better feel. So I was really pleased with that this year.
Yeah, let's go to Good Mother. What about your time, like your off time, whether it be at the dinners or just talking with people in the hallways? What was your experience?
Had a lot of good conversations with a few of the speakers. There was actually one night where we went out to the courtyard at the tower, and Zan joined our table, and there was a gentleman that was there with his family. He was taking his family to Disney, and he just kind of walked by and started chatting. John was there, so was RJ, and we were just in a circle talking about stuff. And this random guy who's just there gonna take, you know, got him linked up with the content and stuff. Like he totally agrees with the message, and he just had a lot of good stuff to say, and he really enjoyed himself. He was really happy to be able to just sit down with strangers and feel some camaraderie and be able to talk openly about things, especially with like things about feminism and women and stuff he doesn't agree with. Being able to express that in front of a woman, I have learned the guys seem to really appreciate. So,
Well, that's cool. So,
yeah.
when you first came to 21, I think it was a couple years ago, Frank, how different is it now compared to when you then and now?
I pretty much covered it in my last segment. You know, I really saw parity between the speakers and the attendees. And I saw a elevated class of attendee. You know, this year I saw a lot of people in suits. I saw a lot of people who had businesses. I saw a lot of people who were at a point in their life where they're like, hey, listen, I've done a lot. I've experienced a lot. Now I want to give back. So I saw people come into the event with an ear towards learning, how can I elevate myself so that I can pour into and serve others within, you know, my space, basically my field. So that was really pleasing to see. Like I said, Tony, I thought it was really well done. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Best one yet, at
Yeah.
least for my experience.
Yeah. So I encourage guys and ladies to come next year, without a doubt, man. It'll be, I'm sure it always gets better and better. And,
Yeah.
you know, me being part of volunteer staff, I get a different perspective. So anybody that does want to volunteer, I think the sooner you reach out for that, when they put out tickets, the sooner you will get a spot. And to me, when you're a volunteer, kind of like Good Mother, you basically get a backstage pass is what you get.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to see the inner workings, and you get to talk with people probably a little bit more than than you would if you were an attendee.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the attendees all joined all the dinners and got to go to the pool and hang out with the speakers and stuff. But like the in between stuff, I think, and kind of having your ear on all the stuff that's happening. When you're an attendee, you're in one room, and you kind of miss out on some other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, Anthony just gave you a shout out.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I saw that,
Anthony.
Anthony. What's up, man?
So, of course, you know, Anthony Johnson, you're always welcome. I'm going to open up the stream here probably in about 20, 30 minutes. So, but I definitely want everybody to stay tuned for the second half. We're going to have a good time. Tonight's kind of a recap, like I said, of 21 convention. So, when you travel, Frank, and talk to somebody that's like going to travel to get to 21, and is it worth it?
Yeah. Oh, no question. No question. And that's a great question, Tony.
You guys both travel from far away. You know?
It's a great question, because when you approach something like 21, it's not an isolated event. For me, I don't travel to do one thing. I travel to do several things along the way. So basically what it does is it puts me into attack mode. It puts me into a mode where I'm going to get a bunch of stuff done and create some trailing work for myself that I can do between now and the next time I travel. Like I'll be in New York in 2 months, for less than 2 months, for a consulting engagement that I need to do. So between now and then, I have a block of work that I'm really going to engage that will be done, so that when I go on my next trip, I will create a new block of work that I will continue to engage. So for me, it's very like, it's part of how I work. It's part of my work ethic. So when I traveled, I went to 21. I traveled from Missouri to Orlando. I got down to 21, fully intending to enjoy the event, but also fully intending to be of service, to help the event, to, you know, like I said, be value add, and of course, to make the relationships along the way, and also to learn, because I knew that I would be in an environment of content creators, people who are doing it, people who you know, have experience, have something that they can share. I knew that I would not be walking away empty-handed. I knew that there was absolutely going to be things that I was going to pick up, that I was going to apply in that next season of work that I'm talking about. So being at that 21 event, although I wasn't necessarily heads down taking notes, believe me, I was mentally taking notes and actually putting some of the things that I'll be doing into the next season already into order. So already practicing the things that I want to be doing in the future. Then, of course, you know, in Orlando, you know, I spent time doing things with family. I spent time getting some other things knocked out. And then I left from there to go to Huntsville to do some production work, some voice work. So I created a whole bunch of content on microphones over the next 2 days after the event. But I laid out my trip in that specific order for a reason. I knew that I was going to go to 21, get a tremendous amount of value, get inspired, get fired up, have a block of work, have experience that I can carry forth with me into the next phase of the trip, which was to produce content that I will now have hours and hours and hours of content that I can chop up and distribute and put out there. And it's value content. It's the content that I want to put forth. It's what has come forth out of me after years and years of, you know, experiencing life, going through things, but preparing for this time. So look, for me, it's a must do. It's a must do. You have to incorporate travel with getting sharp by going to events like those. And I know that I'll be fired up for, you know, quite a bit of time because of the breadth and the brevity of that event. So I wouldn't miss it for the world. I will be there next year.
And let's talk to good mothers. So what about your travel experience? That's somebody, let's say, we're going to get a woman's perspective. That's why you're here. So you travel there. So tell me.
Yeah. Why did I travel?
Yeah.
It's pretty easy. I mean, the event was in Florida. I don't live in Florida, therefore I had to travel. Just flew over, stayed at the hotel, and came back home.
Okay.
So
pretty simple experience is what I'm getting at. It's not
a
big, for somebody that doesn't travel, they think it's a big deal to grab a plane flight or jump in the car and drive a few hours.
No, I mean, it was like, I mean, the ticket was cheap to fly there, round trip, direct flight, like $300. And then, the cost of the hotel was reasonable. And I was there 6 nights, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So
it was easy.
Okay, Frank, what do you think is the biggest takeaway from an event like this for a man? And I'm going to ask this for a woman too. So what's the biggest takeaway from an event like this? What did you leave with? What was the most valuable thing you left with?
Well, I just want to say it's really important after having an event, something that you would consider quote unquote monumental, something that means something to you, something that becomes a launch pad or a platform into what you're doing. I think that you want to make sure that you take a proper analysis, you take an inventory of what you experienced, the good, bad, and the indifferent. You run through it in your head. Otherwise, it becomes, you know, things will subconsciously be planted inside of you. And if you don't address them, it will come out later when you don't want it. So I drove, which gave me a lot of time to do that, to go through that process, which was also another strategic choice on my part. It was part of the itinerary was to drive. But what I came away with most was inspiration, I would say, for sure, but also, you know, the right connections. I made some really good connections this year. I deepened some existing connections, relationships that I hope will flourish over time. For me, that was definitely the takeaway.
for me, it's almost like a high. I'm so jacked up when I'm there doing so many different things at once. And like I said, I usually take about 2 weeks off, and I'm sure people notice that I've been busy in my YouTube community. So I normally don't have time off, but I did take advantage of that time off, and I did some research too. So, but we might talk about that a little later. But yeah, to me, I take away, again, I look for the breakout speaker of the year, which I do think was Zan, which I think was really cool. The guy is kind of on my same wavelength when it comes to, we'll just say, dating. He's right at my age too, also, but interesting fellow. And I enjoyed talking with him, spending time with him. I didn't know he was that much of a fixture, we'll say, in the manosphere. I didn't know that people came just to see him.
Yeah.
I watch very little of his content, but I got to give him a big shout out, man. He's sending me one of his books, and but I hope to have him on here too. I think he would be an interesting guest one evening. So, but yeah, I think the biggest takeaway for me is, even though I'm busy, is looking for that breakout speaker, somebody that's just incredible. But then there's guys, who I still love to watch, like, Michael Foster. This was different this year. Michael Foster had a church service on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And that is so unusual. And last year I noticed the same thing, that you wouldn't think that you come to an event like this and literally the place was packed. We couldn't even start the next speech because everybody was in the church service.
Yeah.
Foster and Brian Suave. So that was kind of unusual, but Foster is a monster, and hopefully he's going to jump on here shortly. I sent him the link, but
he killed it. Oh, he was great.
Yeah.
Foster was great, man.
Yeah. So, but yeah, to me, that's kind of like all these different things. Like I said, the church service. Last year it was funny because I remember, Michael said he was going to have the church service, and this wasn't anything that was really advertised, but it was kind of advertised this year. And I went down thinking, yeah, there'll be a couple guys there. And the same thing last year, man. There was 30, 40 guys minimum watching Foster speak. And if anybody knows Michael Foster from my streams, just a great guy to have speaking, and somebody who just, he comes at it pretty hard, man. He kind of a no holds barred speaker. And I think that when his speech comes out, people are going to be a little bit shocked. So I caught a few minutes of his actual speech. So yeah. Let's just say he's no weak man. No.
He's very righteous.
Absolutely. So
yeah,
we'll just say he took out the sword of righteousness and swatted a few people down. That's for damn sure. So, but yeah. So let's go to you on that same question.
Takeaway?
Yeah.
Well, I guess maybe as a woman, I'll say, because I'm not really a content creator, I'm more like support staff. And the thing that I'm working on specifically, like my lane, is holding women accountable and the universities, like the university indoctrination. So being able to connect with people who have advice, like can direct me who else to contact, like I don't know. I feel like that's my biggest takeaway, and being able to talk to a lot of the attendees and listening to their stories, because also on my channel it's kind of a place for men to be able to share their stories. So being able to listen to various stories of different people and where they came from, and how they ended up there was super inspirational. So
yeah, and we did have reporters there too. So we do have press that comes there. So
yeah, a Politico guy.
I guess I don't really want to say any names, but you spoke to a press person, and I talked to actually a pretty cool dude.
Yeah, so yeah, he was. How
was your experience with that? Like talking to somebody from the press?
It
actually a pretty, from what I understand, a pretty popular. I'm not sure where they are on the. Okay, I got trying to get Frank back, but I'm not sure. From what I understand, I think it's more of a left-leaning type magazine or whatever you want to call it, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So how was your with that as far as your interaction with that dude?
Yeah, it was good. He was very nice. I, I I couldn't tell if he was trying to fish for some, like he wanted to know if there was anything about the convention or any of the speakers or anything like that that I didn't agree with or that might have offended me, and I told you like what I told him. Like the only thing that I have a problem with that the gentlemen do, which I don't think they kind of have a choice in the matter, but I feel like the guys are way too easy on these super abusive, crazy bitches that like want to destroy them. They give them way too much dignity and respect than they deserve.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I agree with that, but that's what
yeah,
did you tell that guy that
yeah.
where that was? Like
He,
did he respond to you? I mean, you guys had a conversation. It wasn't like you
yeah,
were yeah, you were just he didn't, you weren't just talking. He was asking you questions. But
yeah. He was asking me
it
questions.
seemed like when I saw him doing a couple interviews, but he looked like he was having a conversation just
Yeah,
instead of just a kind of like a questioning thing, right?
right. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, there was a couple questions. Like he was I think he was a little surprised that um I kind of came to my conclusion and started my thing before I even knew of the 21 convention.
Hmm.
So it's just that our kind of objectives kind of aligned. So yeah,
Hmm.
I think he was surprised in that.
Yeah. Another person I do want to mention, man, and I know Frank and I know Good Mother, that Paul Caldwell of the War Room.
I love
What do you
Paul.
guys think of Paul?
I love him.
Excellent.
Probably one of the most
Excellent.
genuine. Let me tell you something. Paul Caldwell is who he is. He is the
Yep.
War
Yep.
Room. There is no mask on that man.
Yeah.
And, I feel like I just met another brother when I was there.
Yeah.
So let's go to you, Good Mother. What about Paul Caldwell, the War Room?
No, I like him. Actually, I can't remember how long ago it was that he came to my channel. I know he was the first one that was like, "Hey," and saw me in the hallway. I was like, "Shh," like I'm trying to keep a low profile. I don't want the crazy bitches that I've, collected to do anything to your event. He's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. We got your six." I was like, "Cool."
Oh,
But yeah, I think he appreciates my my role and my lane because there's not a lot of women that hold women accountable.
yeah.
So
Yeah, and you did talk a lot about that for sure. I mean, we had a lot of conversations for sure.
yeah,
So I've already taken some heat for being associated with you, but that's okay. I've taken a lot of heat for being associated with a lot of people, but that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Occasionally you got to fire back, and that's all right. That's why we're here tonight to kind of, like I said, can we get along? That's the whole point of the stream, but it's also, like I said, a 21 recap.
yeah.
So, and on the second half, I think I'll dive into the can we get along a little deeper. And I am going to open up the panel here. It probably won't be for another 15, 20 minutes, but I'm trying to think, what was the question that I just asked?
Paul Caldwell.
Paul.
Yeah. Paul, Frank Pesce, what's your
I liked him, man. I liked him a lot. That was one of the better interviews because, again, we connected. It wasn't a scripted interview. It wasn't just boilerplate questions. It was just guy to guy having a conversation and relatable because he's probably not that much older than me, and he's been through similar experiences in some ways. And we're both raising sons, which was another shared experience that we had, and we both had some regrets about the way that we've done that we were able to express to each other. We both have a lot of shared and common views, and he was easy to connect with. He really was, as was most people. Most people were really easy to connect with, but Paul was an exceptional dude, and I'm going to stay in touch with him for sure. We exchange phone numbers. That's the way it is, man. You meet people, you connect with them, you stay connected with them, you maintain and manage that relationship. Paul will be one of those guys, no question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I know that I saw you, we'll say, reconnected with Elliot Hulse.
My
And
guy, yeah.
I didn't know you guys knew each other that well. I really didn't. I mean, Elliot's a friend of mine, man. I've been to his home and met his family. And Elliot is a very genuine dude. What's your takeaway on Elliot this year?
Dude, I loved him. I was so happy to see him. And, again, another great interview. The interview was supposed to be 20 minutes. We went 40 minutes because
Yeah.
honestly, what happened was, hey, dude, we haven't seen each other in 2 years. We're going to catch up right here at this table. And what you saw was a deep conversation where there was an exchange of love. Him and I met on the basis of Christ. We met, we discussed Christ together. And I think we both made it a pledge to ourselves to do better in that realm. And, coming together again after a couple of years of being separated and having a good testimony to share with each other, man, it was so impactful. And I have been thinking about him. I don't even really follow his content or like consume his content. But like I told him at the table, I said, it's not about your content. It's about you. I like you. And he said, same to you, bro. That's what it's about. So there was that. You can't have that exchange of energy in the same way through virtual means. You have to have FaceTime together.
You can't, and that's what I try to tell all these losers that, especially the guys who use avatars. So what I've gotten here recently is like, it's cool to show your face, and the issue that I have is I think that a lot of these guys will actually show the face and nobody will actually watch them, because when you're giving dating advice and you're writing books, and then when people actually see what you look like, and you're just talking it up. So I guess that if another man wants to see another man's face, you're a homosexual. This seems to be the theme. It's really what the theme is. What the theme is that it's your face that nobody wants to see. So yeah.
Tony, there's this component too. In order to go to an event like this, you have to spend money to get there. Mm-hmm. Okay, meaning you're going to be among a class of people that are financially invested in their time face to face with you. Mm-hmm. And it's not a cheap ticket. You know what I mean? These tickets are reasonably priced. They range from $1,000 to $3,000 basically. And so when you see people, that they invested in their time to be there, which means they're going to take it seriously. And as with anything in life, you're going to take it more seriously if you've got, money and skin in the game. So, I think that's why you have country clubs that cost you $50,000 just to get in, and that's low money. That's little money. If you want to, be part of like some of these elite country clubs or whatever, you're paying millions to just buy a membership. But what you're buying is access to other people. What you're buying is access to a class of people that are on your level, that are going to help you go. You're going to the same place together. So I think 21 is a reasonable, space for that. You're going to meet people who are invested in a range of outcomes.
When Anthony
it's not all the same.
Yeah, when he first puts out tickets, I mean, literally, it's I think it's $9.99 or $8.99. And that's buy one, get one free. So you can actually bring with you. So realistically, you can spend 5-6 days for about $500.
Right.
And that includes,
it's a good strategy that as you get closer to the event, it gets more expensive. Yep. Because what that does is that makes it tougher for people who aren't sincere, or, I understand people have financial obligations and sometimes you just need to wait till the last minute. But overall, it's a good strategy. I would say, from my perspective, I have not discussed this with Anthony or anybody else. This is just as an observer. I think as you raise prices, as you get closer to the event, it helps bring in the right people and keep away the people that would have, other intentions to be disruptors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing I do want to talk to you about is we're going to bring this up because I did. I was we'll say a friend of Jesse Lee Peterson, and at one point, I tend to. I guess sometimes you want to put some faith in somebody and think that they're genuine, and I want to approach this kind of. You're a Christian, and so am I, Frank. But I do want to approach this from a biblical, we'll say a biblical perspective. Okay, and the reason I'm coming to you is because I know you're very knowledgeable. So, we've had a lot of people say, well, I don't believe that. And I get that they're stuck in his cult. I get that 100%. But so when somebody actually talks about this and you have witnesses, go ahead and tell me, like, I believe there's a Bible verse that you can quote that really might make people understand, like, you don't need a text message or you don't need a video, but when people speak up, So
Yeah, the biblical order for things is at the mouth of two witnesses or three witnesses, a matter shall be established. And that's in the Torah. That's what God created as the law that we should live by. At the mouth of two or three witnesses, a matter shall be established. It says in Deuteronomy 19:15, one witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity or for any sin, in any sin that he sinneth. At the mouth of two witnesses or at the mouth of three witnesses shall the matter be established. So we live in a time right now where people want like overwhelming proof. I want a text message, I want a video, I want this and that. But witnesses is the biblical model for things. And I think in the case of Jesse Lee Peterson, there were multiple witnesses that claim the same thing. For me, that was enough to say I'm not interested in this man. I wasn't interested anyway, but that would be enough for me to say I'm not interested in this man's content. That they don't have parity with their message.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring that out to people, and if somebody disagrees with me, that's fine. But what I find now is good comment. 21 Studios. I don't think his balls has dropped when I open the stream, so I don't think he'll jump on. So, let me see here. Let me post that. Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, that's a whole nother topic. But again, this is kind of can we all get along kind of thing. This isn't the Rodney King thing, but this is just. And so I'm gonna throw this out to you, Frank. And then I'm gonna go to Good Mother. Why is it bad that we can't get along? Why is it good that we can get along?
Mm.
Well, I think it's bad that we can't get along because it's indicative of a bigger problem that plagues humanity, and that is that we're always in competition with one another. We're always trying to hurt somebody. We have a bad frame of mind when we approach relationships and projects. An example of that would be after 9/11. We were united as a country. Everywhere you looked was an American flag. Everywhere you looked was a neighbor that was willing to help, kids that were enlisting in the military because they were behind a common cause. We were united. And when we are united, there is absolutely nothing that cannot be achieved. That's why the family unit is so important, by the way. A husband, a wife, children, that all fall under the order of the way things should be, because there's unity in that. And when there's unity, there's power. So, and then, we have many, many structures that we can find unity in. I think in the space of the manosphere, it's difficult to find unity because I don't know, man, there's people are tryhards. People want to be things that they're not. People want to enter into conversations where they don't belong.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what that creates.
That's a fact, where they don't belong. Yeah.
Right. You have to know your lane. You have to know your space. And, everybody wants to come out of college and make $100,000 a year. I use that as a metaphor. But you need to, when you enter into any circle, you need to earn your way. You need to earn the trust of the people that you're working with. And then in that, you can forget about self-promotion and you can have joint promotion, working together. I'm in a hotel. I'm in a weird hotel in a weird area. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye out. Couldn't find anything. Mizzou is in town doing their homecoming. I had to stay at the worst hotel that I could find. Anyway, it's been a while. I got high standards. So with that being said, people need to know what their lane is, and they need to stay in their lane and then find a vector for growth within their lane. I'm wary of anybody who walks into a corporate position and says right off the bat, I want to be the manager. Well, hold on a second. Or I want to be a leader in this company. Great. You're going to work your way up. You're going to learn how things work so that we can impart the culture to you, and then you can carry forth that culture in this organization so that we're successful and unified. So I think what you're experiencing is obviously the breakdown of that. I think it's really good. I don't care what anybody says about this. I think it's really good what Anthony is doing. I know he's got his haters. I don't give a crap. I think it's good because he has stood up and he has tried to centralize leadership in some capacity so that we can create accountability for what's happening in this space and that it can be directed forward. Because what you had otherwise was a whole bunch of inertia and nobody to provide a trajectory for it. So, as long as Anthony is, interested or willing to be in that role, I think it's good, and I think that after that, there's a precedent set for somebody else to come along later and also, operate with some measure of integrity towards the direction of where this is going. This is like any other space, by the way. This is like the car industry. This is like, whatever, the medical lobby. This is like any other space. It needs leadership. Even though things are decentralized, you need leadership. I think the best form of leadership that actually happens within the space is peer-to-peer leadership, peer level leadership, where you run it. When I run into a guy like Elliot, you know what I'm saying? I'm accountable to him because I have said things that require me to honor the things that I have said. So when I see him and he says to me, "Hey man, how's it going?" It's incumbent upon me to say, "It's going well. This is what's been accomplished. This is what's going on. How are you doing?" We have that opportunity to have relationship, have that social intercourse that helps us stay sharp and stay engaged in what our priorities are. And then why is it good that we have indecision and people can't get along? I think the only good thing that you can point out, and I'm just thinking about this as we speak, it's like shaking a tree, man. Just get rid of all the dead fruit, get rid of the bad fruit. And then from there, you can see what's left and you can work on with what you have. So yeah, I think just like anything in life, it's balance.
I mean, I think there's just in this space, I think there's just a lot of followers and men want to be a part of a group no matter what they do. Kind of like this guy Tuesday who's been in the chat. He wants to be a part of it. He just wants to, and again, he's just a faceless loser again, just like most of these guys. They just want to be a part of something and they have to represent. 9 out of 10 of these guys don't live their life like they say they do. Okay. And this is,
so to that,
yeah,
Tony, let me just say to that, I think it's important that these men and women that are making content inside of this space need to start doing more projects together, because what you have is content creators across the spectrum that are all doing their own thing. And I think wherever there's an opportunity for people to work together in unity, you're going to create some innovation in the space that's actually going to command value. In my space, which is business, that's primarily what I lead with. Food has to go on the table. We look for ways to add value, unify efforts, and actually affect outcomes. I think that this space is no different. When people like, for instance, Donovan Sharp had 1,200 subscribers on Patreon not too long ago, all the nonsense about him came out. Now he's down to like 400. Well, what's happening to those 800 in between? Are they totally turned off by the content that's being produced in the space, or are they finding somewhere else to go? Because what you ideally want to do is take that 800 and redirect them towards a positive outlet, somewhere where they can grow and add value to the space. It's like any industry. If you have an industry, you have to bring in outside capital. You have to bring in outside resources so that they can scale and multiply. And I think that, one risk that we run, if this is, and when I say we, I'm not a stakeholder in this. I'm just looking at this as an observer. One risk that the space faces is if too many people are turned off by the infighting, then it drives people away from this content totally. And then the message of, feminism is bad. Progressive left agenda is bad. The destruction of the family is bad. The destruction of the moral compass is bad. The destruction of God as Lord is bad. Like, all those things are bad. And if we can't have a message that promotes those values without destroying everything and those values at the same time, I think it's going to be a problem for the growth of the space, the influence that we have. It's like a political party, you know what I mean? And even though it has a much more...
There's a lot of political parties in this space, and I don't even want to call them political parties, but I call them ideologies, okay? And to me, it's like everybody seems to have a leader in this space. They have to have a leader. They have to have somebody to guide them. They can't stand on their own 10 toes. Like over the past week or couple of weeks, I've had a lot of guys reach out to me, people I don't even know too, and just say, "Hey, I got your back." And I'm like, dude, I got my own 2 feet, my own 10 toes, and I can stand on my own. I appreciate the whatever you want to call it, but I got myself. I don't need to gang up on people. But so for me, I think men need to learn to stand on their own and sometimes get out of these toxic groups. And that's the word that I hate, is toxic. I'm not a fan of these buzzwords.
Right.
Toxic to me is another one. Oh, he's toxic. She's toxic. I just don't like that. It has no meaning. These words have been just used up too much.
Mm-hmm. Misused.
But the fact is, there's always a cult of personality ahead of a lot of these groups, and the fact that if you basically, it's like if you step out of line or you ask a question, well, like right tonight, I'm just blocking this one loser, and that's fine. I'll keep timing him out. I'm not blocking him, because I don't want him to go and rope after this, because they probably will, and I don't want that for anybody, So, but I do want people to bring something constructive into what we talk about sometimes, and I think what happens is you want to have a constructive conversation, and there's always losers that want to interrupt your conversation because they have no life. And the thing is that I don't watch much content. So when people say, this guy, that guy, I'm like, nah, I don't know who they are. But what I've noticed is I see the same people in all the different streams, which tells me they have no life. Literally, like, how can you be in every stream? How can you be in every chat unless you have no life? And that's just a fact. I mean, I don't know what to say, but I think what happens is they get their, you get your cult leader, and then you have to show yourself, or like, I'm going to go and protect the cult kind of thing. And, it is what it is, man. I just think it's weak. Stand on your own 10 fucking toes, man. That's all. Just like I do. And I've never asked anybody to stick up for me. If you don't ride with me, I'm not going to talk with you. And I'll get into that a little later. So, but yeah, Guy Bro, welcome, man. I'm going to open up the stream here shortly, and Guy Bro, you have to come on. So we're gonna have a little chat. So, but anyways, good mother, what do you think about like these
men fighting? Well,
Yeah.
Can I answer the men fighting question first?
Sure, absolutely.
So the men fighting, I think, is really bad, because in this culture war, it's exactly what the feminists want, and it's only good for the feminists because ultimately they benefit from it. So, and they're the ones that get to capitalize on it.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I put a list of a male feminist on my YouTube community.
Yeah,
and these were paraphrased quotes from this guy. So I just call him Truth Alina. So. But these are quotes from him, like, men don't need testosterone in this society. Why do you need testosterone? And it's like, okay, there's a male feminist quote.
right.
Yes, you do need, not, I'm not on the bandwagon of, pinning yourself, but there's ways to increase your testosterone, because testosterone is what makes you a man. So if you're going to speak about masculinity, testosterone is pretty important. That's what makes you a man.
Right. It's a basic fundamental thing. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy Tuesday, I'm gonna give you one more chance, and then you're gonna be gone. Like, dude, like, go back, go back to the hole in the fucking ground that you came from. You're just what are you at that? You trying to puff up your muscles, buddy? Why don't you hit back, and why don't you actually? Hell, you can come on the stream, big boy. Come on the stream. I saw your comments about me. Let me tell you, buddy. When you're 60, I hope you're as good shape as I am. So. But I doubt it. I'm sure you're some fat pot belly fucking weirdo who jacks off probably to pictures of good mother. So please, just go away, weirdo. Go away. So anyways, that's end rant on that one. So, but yeah, so I've taken a little bit of heat in the past week, and it's like, you step out of line and you're going to get this. But what I like to do is, I can drop the truth on people. People want to ask me about Anthony, and I don't speak for Anthony, but I know, oh yeah, I'm a attack dog. No, that's farthest thing from the truth. I stand on my own 10 toes. So Anthony can speak for himself about any questions that you have about 21 convention. He can speak for himself. So I'm not there. I'm not a puppet like Tuesday. So I'm not a puppet.
Tuesday just seems very resentful. So
yeah, this is what you call a bitch. Yeah, this is what you call a bitch. This is what you call a male feminist right there.
Wow.
There's a male feminist. But I worry about guys like that because if you,
Yeah.
me, I did a little roasting this past week, and it's like, oh, it's, you should do this or you shouldn't do this. It's a bad look. But, when
Right.
everybody else does it, it's okay. But so, the worst thing that you can have sometimes is time. So I had a little time, gonna have a little
Right.
fun. So, I just kind of pointed out truth. People wanted me, one thing I usually don't do is do research, because when somebody says something about somebody, I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, whatever. It's just, that I don't care,
Yeah.
So I've spent time doing research in the past. We'll say the past 3-4 days, and wow, did I find a lot. So, but I'll share that with somebody at a later time.
You know what though? Whenever I see a man behaving in a toxically feminine manner, I always know that there's a crazy bitch behind them
Mhm.
that's caused that.
Yeah, absolutely. 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 I think that's kind of what we experience in this space a lot of times. I know on
Yeah.
your channel, kind of checked it out after you told me about it. And I might have been a little bit hard on you at first, but I listened here and there, and I'm like, wow, she got some good conversations. And
Yeah.
these guys were actually just wanting to talk. And I
Yeah.
think that's important.
Yeah.
I think as a moderator for your channel, you did a good job of letting people speak. And I think that's important. I've
Yeah.
always tried to do that. I've welcomed everybody here on my channel. And again, this is not my job,
Yeah.
This is just something I do for fun. In fact, the only thing Tuesday said that was right in the comments was that, I haven't streamed in a few months because I'm working. Yeah, Tuesday, because I have a life, bro. I'm not on every stream like you are. That's all. Hell, I don't even know if you're a man, dude. Who knows? I mean, I have no clue. You could be some fucking feminist chick that's just freaking out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, he's behaving like a feminist, so that's why I'm like, there's crazy bitchery afoot there. So he's infected by somebody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, but it's kind of, it's that whole, like, it's the whole stick up for your cult leader thing is what it is what I'm finding,
Yeah.
And for me, I've been, we'll say I was drawn into the cult of the manosphere at one point in my life. And when I walked away, boy, did I get a ton of shit from that. And what I'm noticing is the same exact thing right now is, in fact, I didn't walk away because I welcome everybody. But if you don't align and you don't answer their questions, let's put it this way: if you don't answer for somebody else,
Mhm.
To me, that's just like a woman in your fucking ear. Like,
Right.
that's
Exactly.
exactly what it's like. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so what's your takeaway on that, either Frank or Good Mother?
Frank.
Just letting you talk, Tone. You guys got it.
Yeah, I just, it's just funny because I'm just having a great time. Like I said, doing a little roasting myself, but I really want everybody to stay tuned for the second half, and we're probably going to start that anytime. So,
Well,
but,
I will excuse myself from that because that's men sorting the men out. That's not my lane. So I find it disgusting when I happen upon a woman and she's sitting there roasting a man and she's degrading and berating and there's tons of misandry. And I'm like, I feel like as women, we need to stop feeding into that because it's feminist. Like feminists do that. And I feel like the men should be sorting out the men and the women need to be sorting out the women in that capacity. So
here, let me put this up here. Tony, you don't sound like you're having a great time. You sound like you're hurting. Dude, you are so far from the truth. That is so far from the truth.
who hurt you? That's
Yeah.
psychology feminists right there.
This is the, I was just about to say who hurt you.
Yep.
This is the feminist line right there.
Yeah.
Dude, like what you need to do is do like I did, is get off the internet, bro. Like get away from it. And you might see things more clearly.
My money is that that's a chick.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
See, you are far too generous. Like I would have sniped that crazy bitch in the first fucking shitty comment.
Yeah, that's all right. He's been commenting all along, and that's all right. I just want to, like I said, there's a lot of guys that are out there, that just want to talk a big game, but you'll just see an avatar, and people say, oh, if you show your face, you're gay, or you want to see another. That's just all that is a cover, and but I'll talk about that here in the next hour. In fact, I think I want everybody to stick around. In fact, we got about 35 people now. You really want to stick around and tell your friends. So we're gonna have a little fun coming up here shortly. So Frank Pesce, I want to ask you a final question in the hour. I know you're probably losing power here, but what do you got to say to a man that has thought about coming to a convention like this, or even a men's event or a church event or something like what Foster does? What do you say to a man that just wants to do something different, wants to bond, wants to get something off his fucking chest, man? What do you say to a guy like that?
Just as with anything else, what's holding you back? If you know that there is, some good things to be found in those environments, what's holding you back? You should really, take a risk, go to that. Maybe you're not the most social person. Maybe you don't like to be around large crowds. Maybe you don't really like to travel, but whatever it is that's holding you back, I say it's worth it to put it to the side and go check it out. You won't have any regrets. You won't leave any stones unturned, and you'll have an opportunity to build relationship with people who also made decision like you did, or you said, what's holding me back? I'm not going to let it hold me back anymore. I'm going to move forward. I think it's tremendously valuable. I also wanted to just say something to Good Mother. I observed an interaction that she was having with somebody. Let's just say that somebody was giving her a hard time at dinner. I'm not going to say who, about her channel and about the guests that she has on her channel. And I was very impressed with the way that she composed herself and remained patient. And I thought that was really good energy, because over the course of the next 2 days, I myself got a much better understanding of who she was, what her channel was about, and my feelings of skepticism turned into immediate respect. And I want to just say that, that's good, positive energy. That's how men should conduct themselves in some situations. But, you have people that want to just raise up and fight and argue and go back to back for what? What are we doing? So I wanted to commend you on that, Good Mother. Tony, I wanted to commend you too.
I was under the same thing. I was skeptical, because when you see a woman that's fighting feminism, I was very, very skeptical. And we had, Good Mother, we had a lot of discussions about that.
Oh yeah. Well,
and there was one thing about you, is that you're a feminine woman without a doubt. But one thing is that you handled conflict better than most men that I know.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
I'd like to ask you, what is your secret on that? How can you tell other women to handle conflict like you did? In other words, I never saw you get upset. I never saw you pull the typical woman move when I questioned you.
Super patient.
Yeah. So.
I guess it just takes practice, discipline. I mean, I feel like Frank talks about, what's your assignment? I know my assignment, and when I see men, especially men that might try to combat me on my ideas, a lot of the times, I've dealt with way worse. What happened at the convention was nothing compared to what I've dealt with online. But I see it for what it is, that super, I'm going to say, toxic stuff where they're trying to fight me. It's I don't fight men. I refuse to engage in combat with men. So they can try to get it out of me, but it's never going to happen. And a lot of the time, I see where they're coming from, and I know who put those ideas in their head to begin with. And then I trace it back, and it was a crazy bitch. So I just blame the crazy bitches.
That's crazy empathy right there.
Yeah, those are your two keywords right there, what I've noticed.
Crazy bitches. They're the magic spell words that, for one, will let you know when one is around you.
Well, the funny thing is all I did was drop in on your stream last night and say hello. Within, I'm going to say I don't even know how they did it that fast, but within 2 minutes, I started getting 8 emails.
It's because they psycho watch my channel and wait for new people. They actually I call these emotional terrorists. Like, they're psychotic. They're crazy bitches that I've added to my list. And I'm like, okay, these are crazy bitches. Don't listen to them, and I call them out on their bullshit. And they are so resentful, and they've been trying to cancel my channel because I allow men free speech on my platform. So I think it's less about me and more about the men, but they constantly, because they can't cancel my channel because I have boobs. Like, if you have boobs, like, the only way you can be canceled really is if you allow it to happen. So
Yeah, because I'm the whitest guy on YouTube. I've been eligible for monetization for probably getting close to a year and a half now or longer, and they will not monetize my channel.
Yeah.
I don't have anything I don't think of my channel as anything that's outrageous or outlandish, but I do know that is my white privilege right there. My white privilege is to be not monetized. So,
right.
Tuesday, buddy, get off the internet. Go get a life, bro. You got to. Don't tell me I hope you heal. I've been healed for a long time, dude. Just because I go after one of your cult leaders, or a guy that basically, I have a home here. I have a beach home. I have a beautiful home. And I was thinking the other night, man, it's kind of sad because I kick my feet up on my coffee table. I sit here, relax, and other people are streaming from their home. One of your boys, his home is the streets, man. His home is the streets. And you're taking advice from a guy like this, guy that barely can rent another room for the night. Yeah. Hold the room hostage, we'll call it. So, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, something I did catch from one of Richard Grannon's talks was something about how guys like to fight. Like, how they like to get physical and they like to spar, and and I think part of this is coming out online. Only it comes out toxically feminine because they can't really do anything physical online, right? These people have fun doing this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, like I said, it's just a pastime. For Frank, I really want people to start following Frank's channel. I'm not sure if I have a link in there. I think I do, but if not, check out Frank Pesce, without a doubt. Check him out, man. I think he's very, very, I don't want to use the word underrated, but he's very undiscovered right now.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a guy that's motivated? Frank is the guy. I mean, there's a reason why I said, okay, we want him to do the 21 reports. And I pushed for the last 3 or 4 months to say, Anthony, this is the new face of the 21 report. Here's a guy that's going to look sharp and speak well. I've never said I was a good speaker. I never said I was a good interviewer. I enjoyed doing a few here and there. It was fun for me. I enjoyed doing it on my channel. But when you get in a studio and those lights go on, it's a whole different ball game. I can tell you that. But I pushed as hard as I could for Frank. And I remember after his first interview, I'm trying to think who it was. It was what's his name? I can't think.
The bodybuilder. The bodybuilder.
Jim Flanagan. Jim Flanagan,
yes.
Yeah, what a good guy. But you know what? When I came on, after that interview was done, and I looked at the camera guy, I'm not going to say his name, we'll just say R. And he just gave me a thumbs up and a big smile. And I said, let him do them all, man. I told you. So I'm glad that I could kind of push you out into the limelight, man, where you needed to be. You needed to be,
thank you, bro.
You needed to be ahead of the game. And I did everything I could as a friend, as a fellow man, to say, you know what? This is one thing about me, Frank, is like I told you, I said, I've had people say, oh, you did great interviews, blah, blah, blah. But what I said is Frank is better. He's better. I mean, he is. This is what he does. This is what he loves. Let him do it. And I'm not afraid to say, it's not something that I wanted to do. So pushing you out there to the forefront, to me, was a choice to say, you know what, there's a better man for this job, and I want him to do it. And that's why I pushed you out there, man. And from then on,
can't thank you enough.
The response I got from speakers that said, wow, Frank is just one man. And,
Yeah,
and you dress like a G too, so that's cool.
I do, because I knew the nature of the work. I knew that it required me to be serious. I love to wear a suit. It's hard these days to wear a suit because you're not always in those environments anymore. But I have a closet full of handmade Italian suits, beautiful suits, and I wear them at every opportunity because when you wear a suit, it puts your mind to work. It puts you in the right place. People will hold the door for you. People will take you seriously. People will give you the platform to speak to them. Wearing a suit is a superpower for a man. And one of the things that has happened in recent years is they have taken away the ability for men to wear suits by going to this more casual Friday look in everything that you do. And men really gave up too quickly on the power of a suit. Suit makes all the difference. So I enjoy doing that. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I really enjoyed the nature of the work. As you saw, I was one after another. Let's do this. We got work to do. I didn't rush through any interview. I made every interview as valuable as possible. I knew that we had to get the work done and knock it out in a manner that was respectful of everybody's time and my time.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's just, you can't leave those details out. You got to be serious about it. I intend to do the same thing next year. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I am motivated, brother. I appreciate it.
There's a good possibility, if it's not already, but I think you will be a speaker next year. And I am going to see what I can do. And I think Good Mother would be good speaker too, to the ladies.
Agreed.
You're muted right now. You're muted. Yeah.
Sorry.
So I think, it might be something here in the future that you mentally prepare yourself for. I don't know if you've ever spoke in front of people, but I think it definitely takes a certain skill to be comfortable on a stage, comfortable in a studio, things like that. But I think that if we'll say if Anthony likes your content and thinks you're going to add value, I think I think that's something you would think about here in the future. So,
Yeah, if you guys need me to, I'll do it.
It would be something that probably we'll look into. And all I can do is, again, I'm not the owner. All I do is wrangle speakers and get them to where they got to go, man.
Right.
I do. And it was funny too, because these creeps were talking about me doing makeup. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say, if I spoke, I could still do makeup, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So
okay, good.
Yeah, so Good Mother did a great job on the makeup for all the guys. The gals did their own speaking, did their own makeup, of course. But yeah, she was on it. She did a great job and great assistant. This year I was kind of left in the lurch. Like, who am I going to have help me out here? And your enthusiasm to help out was really refreshing for me, because what I do during that convention
is a lot.
It's a real lot. But to have somebody that was willing to step up, including Frank, including you, hey, much respect, man. That was just greatly appreciated. So,
I want to say something. I saw somebody in the comments said this nice little cliche: "The man makes the suit doesn't make the man." Well, I can already tell that's somebody who does not wear a suit. I can already tell that that's somebody who wears a suit to a wedding or to a funeral. When you wear a suit, you cause yourself to level up.
That's
period.
right.
End of story. When you wear a suit, people hold the door for you and they look at you with an expectation that they are welcoming you to add value to their life when you wear a suit. I got my start on Wall Street, and when I went to Wall Street, you will wear a suit here. You will become what it means to wear a suit. You will come to work with that suit and that earpiece with the phone on it as if you would wear a football or a hockey helmet. You will rise to the occasion. You will become a man in this suit. Now, when I put a suit on my 16-year-old son and I explained to him what a suit is, what it means, how it should be treated, how it should be pressed, how it should be cleaned, how every little detail matters, how the monogram of the sleeve matters, how the pocket square matters, how the belt matters, how the shoe shine matters, it all comes together to create a look, not only that you look good and presentable, but that you carry out your work with excellence as you move forward, filling that role. Okay, so I don't want to hear anything about the suit doesn't make the man. The suit gives the man the place to start. When I put on a suit at 16 for the first time, I knew that I was made for a suit. I knew that anytime I would put on a suit, that I would be absolutely unstoppable. And you know what? I'm almost 38 years old now, and that is still true today. So I would just encourage anybody, wear a suit. Wear a suit. It will level you up. Get yourself a nice fitting suit. And it's all about the fit of the suit, by the way, okay? Just make sure your suit fits you nice and you walk forward with your head up and you'll do just fine.
And anything too, I've said that to a lot of guys this year, and a lot of, I went a little more casual this year when I say casual. But it's funny too, because people will say that, like, why are you so dressed up? And for me, that being out in public, that was kind of casual. But I did get compliments on the way I was dressed from, mostly from women. But they noticed that, my shirts, my pants, everything that I wear is tailored. So, even something as simple as that, it didn't look like a bag on me. So I just, I really, tell people the same thing. Like, when you're out in public or you're in an event like that, put your best foot forward. So, but absolutely.
No doubt.
Yeah, I'm gonna start.
I gotta go, Tone.
For the first half, I'm just gonna start to wrap up. But I want everybody to stay tuned, because we're gonna talk about Can We Get Along coming up. So, Frank, any final words before you take off?
Listen, man, first and foremost, it was great to see you again at the 21 convention. I will see you again in Florida soon, because our relationship is not just 21 convention at this point. You're a dear friend of mine. I appreciate you going to bat for me.
Absolutely.
I appreciate the phone calls that we have from time to time. You're a great man. It was great to see you. That's what it's about. So I will see you again, and it was great to see you this time. Good mother. Oh, it's so nice to meet you. You're a G. Keep doing what you're doing. You can definitely enjoy my support. I look forward to coming on your show sometime soon. And I hope that you will return the favor and come on to mine here in the near future as well. And
Absolutely.
I hope to share the speaker alumni with you next year. I think that opportunity may be on the table for me, and I would love to see the same for you. So my closing comments are the 21 convention this year was phenomenal. It was excellent. It was great to see everybody. I will definitely be back. And stay tuned. I'm coming out this year with some great content that will add value to you. I'm on Instagram, just as you see on the screen, Frank_Pesce_. I'm on TikTok the same way. And my YouTube channel, which should be in the comments, is Frank Pesce 580. And we're really committed this year to putting out some great content. When I say we, I'm working with some people. I'm working with a team of real producers, people that are doing stuff. We're going to do our best to make a concerted effort and work together as men. We're also creating another channel that you won't see my face, but you'll hear my voice. Very excited about the channel. That's going to be the money maker right there. That's what we're pushing towards, to build an online presence and a business. And then as far as putting out personal content, as you see my name on the screen, I'm having fun doing it. I just want to share my journey along the way, and I hope to make some good friends. Tony, I met you at 21, but we built our relationship doing stuff like this. And
Yes,
I want to get to connect with you in person. It makes it all the better. GM, same to you. We have a great year ahead of us. So
Yeah.
Those are my closing comments, man. I'm gonna run upstairs because it is time. It's time.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks,
Later, Frank.
Appreciate you.
All right, guys.
Man.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Take care. Good mother. Closing comments. Everybody stay tuned. This is just the first half, so I just want to watch.
Yeah, you get a roast coming up, right?
Yeah, I think I do. You gave it away, but yeah, I do.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. It'll just bring them on in. Guy Bro, hang tight. Uncle Guns, I'm going to open up the stream shortly. And we're going to
I don't really have it.
hard. And one thing we're not going to do is we're not going to hold the truth hostage. We're going to show the truth coming up. So let's get it done. But any final, appreciate you coming on.
Nothing much. I do have quite a few conversations that I'm scheduling for a lot of the attendees, the volunteers and stuff. I'm gonna have conversations, and even the guy that we had sat and just shared drinks with, and he joined the conversation. He's going to come up on the channel and talk about his story and his thoughts, because they very closely align with 21 Studio stuff. So, yeah.
Well, good. I appreciate you coming on. It was great meeting you, and I'm sure I'll see you again. But thank you for all your help this year.
Yes.
And thank you for what you do, man. Like I said, at first I had some misconceptions about what you do, and after checking out your content, I really think I think you're helping men, and I think
Yeah.
you're helping women too. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of women that don't realize how much people don't like them or respect them, and there's reasons for that. It's nothing to do with the people, it's them. Like, they misbehave, they act disgusting. So I think there's a lot of women that might need a little bit of training in that department. So
Mhm.
on just how respect works. Like, I know the feminists are like, you must respect me, and it's like, well, you have to be respectable in order to garner respect. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So, well, I appreciate you, and everybody check out Good Mother. I want you to go ahead, and you're a mod, so make sure you put your channel in the chat so people can follow you for sure.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like self-made. Got
Yeah,
it.
I think
Thank you, Tony.
I did, but go ahead and put it in there. So, but
Okay.
appreciate your time. Absolutely.
All right. If you need any crazy bitch sorting out, let me know. Okay.
I will. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Bye.
you for coming on. Yeah. So, yeah, man, we are into the second half, and I'm going to answer